with so many cryptocurrencies available for you to buy, I think it's really important to just kind of take a look at what the criteria are, what you should be maybe considering when you're looking at cryptocurrencies, because there actually is a long list, and that's something that we're going to spend some time talking about in this video. We're going to be taking a look at this little spread on Coin Paprika here. Really important. I think it's really cool. As well, we have some movement upwards today, just a reaction, in my opinion, to everything going on. If you take a look at the stochastic right here, you can see the bottom right around 0.14 and the little curve up, so really no surprise there. Not going to spend a lot of time looking at that, but are we going to see some potential upside over the next day or two? Absolutely possible. If we take a look at the entire market on CoinMarketCap, you can see green day for everyone. Very similar to every other time there is a nice move up. You can see the entire market moves up, and will this continue is very possible. But I want to spend the majority of this video talking about cryptocurrency investment. It's something I've been thinking about over the last few days, what some of the most important criteria are for when it comes to picking and choosing and investing in cryptocurrencies. So this whole thought for this video kind of just stemmed from the last few days of me thinking about it. I've done a few polls on Twitter, or just one poll in particular. But this posted here 8 hours ago. There are thousands of cryptos, and every single one of them is different. I would say, quote unquote, different, because a lot of them are very, very copy and paste, very similar with different names and maybe one or two different items in their roadmap or something like that. So a lot of them are very, quote unquote, different, but are actually very, very similar. But with that being said, there are plenty of them that are actually just very different as well. So how can we possibly compare them? So before we get into this nice little piece here that is on coinpaprika.com, top comment here: one scam equals one scam. This person has a good point here. Ones that are being used, not just hoarded. So yeah, let's just take a look at what Coin Paprika here, this article has to say, how to compare them. There are thousands of them, and each one is slightly different, whether it's the technology, the team, or something as mundane as the branding. Each crypto has its own upside and downside. So I think that's a really good point. Something as mundane as just the branding being the only difference between a lot of cryptos, I definitely think is the case. I think for a lot of cryptocurrencies, again, really the only thing they offer is a different selling point or a different brand. But when it comes to the actual technology, when it comes to the actual adoption or use or speed or anything like that, they offer nothing. However, that doesn't mean that those coins won't be successful. When we look outside of cryptocurrency, there are plenty of brands, plenty of companies, plenty of products that succeed, and they don't necessarily have a real reason to succeed other than a combination, most likely, of luck, timing, good branding, looking good to the average consumer, packaging itself well. And will that be the same case of what cryptocurrencies succeed? Potentially. I think percentage-wise there will be some cryptocurrencies that do better than others simply because of their timing, their name, their logo, very, very basic, superficial things like that. Because, I mean, that's just capitalism, and I think cryptocurrency obviously won't be averse from that. I think cryptocurrency won't be completely devoid of that type of capitalistic marketing, I feel like. So when it comes to choosing your criteria, it says here, with any comparison, it's essentially start with meaningful criteria. The article goes on, the two most popular applications for cryptocurrency, and the two will focus on, are investing and currency. Currency is a medium of exchange to transfer value, and an investment is an asset purchased with the idea that it will grow in value. So, comparing cryptocurrencies as currencies. So the first one we have here is speed. Very important. I think transactions are fast. There's no waiting around. Means that cryptocurrency is practical even at the coffee shop. And I think in the long run, what will be the most important for all cryptocurrencies is speed. This continues. It's up to you to decide what speed is satisfactory. I really do think that if it's instant, there's going to be different variations of instant, right? But if it takes about a second or two, I think really that will be the pinnacle or the singularity of what people really care about. If it only takes a second, people can wait 1 second. But we think cryptos can start to get impractical if the times reach as much as a minute. Again, I think as the technology develops and as time goes on, a minute will become too long. A second, I think, is a lot more realistic, a lot more, especially in this age. I think a second is more up to speed with our current technology and what we're used to. Really, a minute, even though it doesn't sound like a long time, a minute is a little too long for a lot of people. When it comes to their technology, when it comes to money as well, it's something very important. So a second, I could see a second being kind of a singularity there. Faster than a second, of course, that's going to be good, but I think at a certain point it won't matter that much. Very similar to wealth. I think once you have, you know, 10, 15, 20 million dollars, your happiness won't change that much from having that amount of money to maybe 50, 60 million dollars. However, living off $30,000 a year and going to $1 million a year, there's a much big difference there in happiness. Studies have shown. So I think it's very similar there in terms of transaction speed and what people will be happy with and what they'll feel comfortable with. So speed is probably the biggest one. I like that the article put that at the very top here. Low cost, again, probably the second most important thing. You don't want to spend a lot on transaction fees. You don't want to waste money on doing a transaction. It's something that people will definitely look at right from the get-go and decide, I don't want to waste this fee because it's so high on this cryptocurrency when I can choose this cryptocurrency, which is just as fast, but I don't have to waste all the money on actually transacting it. So that's a huge factor as well. I guess it's probably a toss-up between speed and low cost in terms of the transaction fee. I personally think speed probably barely takes the lead in terms of what's more important there, but cost as well is something very, very, very important. It says here for day-to-day use, buying a cup of coffee, even a few cents can be too much. Absolutely agree. If you're spending $2 on a cup of coffee and it costs 5 cents to transact, that might be too much. I really do think it would be, especially if you can look at another cryptocurrency that might cost, a fraction of a penny for that same transaction. I'm going to go with the one that's a little bit cheaper. Liquidity, it's easy to buy and sell, meaning there's a lot of supply and demand for it. As a result, the value of the currency stays true to its price. You can check liquidity on different websites here, but the bigger the better. Anything beyond 100 million per day is plenty. And as the space grows, I think many cryptocurrencies will easily fit this criteria. So I don't think this one necessarily is quite as big as speed and low cost, and I think that's why they put speed and low cost in this article first. And I think that was a smart choice in terms of what's more important there. Stability, the price isn't jumping up and down like crazy, and when the time comes when cryptocurrencies are going to be used more and adopted more, that will become a bigger factor there. But I'm not going to spend too much time talking about that in this video. Adoption, extremely important. Whether or not you can buy that cup of coffee at a certain store because they do or don't accept that cryptocurrency is a huge factor. Definitely something I think it is maybe third on the list here. So speed, low cost, and I would say adoption is maybe the third biggest thing. Liquidity and stability are things that I think are going to come naturally for a lot as the space grows in general, but adoption as well should, but I think that's just really critical there. Ease of use, there's a whole host of applications and tools to help you use the currency. Anyone is capable, and I think this just goes pretty much with the whole cryptocurrency space. Right now, the user interface, the actual use and storing and everything of that of cryptocurrency is not super consumer friendly. Maybe for people that have exposure to technology and this kind of stuff, it doesn't take very long, but for a large amount of people, they don't want to have to deal with the interface that we see, whether it's copy and pasting your address and everything like that. There's still a risk of sending your cryptocurrencies to wrong addresses if you don't know how to copy and paste, or if you decide to type out the address for whatever reason. There's some things that an average person definitely could get hung up on and get confused about. And so ease of use, simpler user interfaces, we see that being really important, especially you look at things like Apple, Facebook. I think one of the main reasons they're successful is because they have attractive user interfaces. Using them feels good. It feels smooth. I think that's one of the real reasons that a place like Target has been succeeding so very much in the last 10, 15 years, just because, people don't want to go to department stores. Target is very streamlined. I feel like it's very easy. It has so many things that you could want: food, electronics, clothes, pretty much everything you could want in a pretty compact store for the amount of inventory that it has. A place like Sears, JCPenney, you see them kind of going away. They're not doing as well. Their numbers are dropping, and yeah, they're definitely going to fade out in the next few amount of years. I think places like Amazon and drone deliveries and everything like that are going to eventually replace maybe something like Target, but I think Target definitely has a stranglehold, at least in America right now. When it comes to the team value proposition, TA, team security, I think that's all pretty important, but just looking at it from the surface in terms of what's more important here, I think speed, low cost, adoption, and ease of use are the biggest four things here. With that being said, I do just want to point out to be careful when it comes to news in this space. It's still kind of illegitimate. The news is still very not professional. I mean, not saying other news is really reliable either, but The thing with the Japan Bitcoin ETF approval, I think there's very little behind it as well. There was the talk about Russia and everything. Just be very careful. A lot of these articles are posted with little to no information or just completely based on speculation and guessing. So just be aware of that. With that being said, thank you for watching the video. If you're new to the channel, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll be back with another video.